Hi, Lucy. We're going to start a new study called Leaving a Legacy of Honor, and it'll be based on the book of Second Timothy, which was the very last book that the Apostle Paul wrote shortly before his death in 67 AD. He wrote this to one man, his son in the faith, Timothy, and he wrote this book to encourage him and to strengthen him in very difficult times. The Christians were being heavily persecuted at that time, and Timothy was living in fear. But Paul poured himself out to this one young man, and he told him to be strong. He told him to not be fearful. And shortly thereafter, the great apostle Paul was beheaded in that prison under the rule and reign of the Emperor Nero. I have a question for you. What kind of legacy will you leave? See, the Apostle Paul at one time was a man of dishonor, and he went about killing and persecuting the Christians. But he became a vessel of honor because he made a new choice, and he made a turnaround and decided to serve God with all of his heart and soul. All of us will die, but not all of us will live. Sounds like a strange statement, but the truth is, the decisions that we make now determine what kind of legacy that we leave behind and what people will remember about us. So we're going to explore this book, and we're going to see how God wants to use your life. He wants to use my life, but we will make the choices that determine whether our life is a life of honor or a life of dishonor. Let's explain the difference between an inheritance and a legacy. An inheritance is physical wealth that someone leaves to others upon the time of their death. A legacy is more than physical wealth. It is your story, it is your character, it is who you are and what others can live up to. My Uncle Veto owned a 1958 pink Cadillac, original pink with the interior, original everything. It was his pride and joy. And he always had it cleaned, and he would make sure to have it registered even when he stopped driving, and he would have others take him out for a drive in his 1958 classic pink Cadillac. Well, he never had his own children. And before he died, there were quite a few people that were coming around giving him hints that they would like to have his Cadillac as an inheritance when he died. On the other hand, my father ended up being a poor man because of sicknesses, and he had no material wealth to leave his children. But he was a man of honor. He was a man of integrity. He was a man of character. And he left us a legacy. He left us something that we as his children and grandchildren would want to live up to. In my family line, my father's name was Ray, which means king, and he truly lived up to that name. And we have a Michael Ray, we have a Donovan Ray, we have a Raylene, we have many Rays in our family because he left us a legacy. What kind of what will you leave for your future generations? The key text that we will be looking at in this study is 2 Timothy 2:20 through 21, and it reads like this. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some for honor and some for dishonor. Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from the latter, he will be a vessel for honor, sanctified and useful for the master, prepared for every good work. See, we will all be used by God, but the question is, will we be used for honor or dishonor? King Saul was a vessel used by God. However, he was used to show us a negative example of what not to be, while King David was used by God for honor to show us a man after God's own heart. So the question that we need to ask, will we be a vessel of dishonor or a vessel of honor? And we do have a choice. So as we begin this road trip to find out what it means to leave a legacy of honor, we're going to see that there's three principal keys in this study that we'll look at. The first key is to be sanctified. That word means to be set apart, to be given to God and his purposes, to be useful. In other words, that God could use our lives in a positive way, and to be prepared. We've got to be prepared in order to be used by God. So we're going to look at these three key points while we go through this study, and let's get ready to take a road trip that will take us on a new course in life to be a vessel of honor, and that our lives will leave a legacy that others could look up to. God bless you.